What's going on, YouTube? So we're gonna have a little bit of fun today and critique one of my personal favorite shows of all time. But just because it's one of my favorite TV shows, that doesn't mean that they do everything perfectly. No show does. So today we're gonna talk about the top 3 worst Girl Meets World episodes. So without wasting any time, go ahead and grab your popcorn or hot dog or whatever food you can reach, and let's get started. So the first episode we're gonna talk about today is Girl Meets World of Terror, an episode that still haunts me to this day. I wake up in the middle of the night from nightmares that I have about this episode. It's that bad, people. Now, Girl Meets World of Terror is supposed to be a Halloween special type episode, but the only thing scary about this episode is the content itself. And the fact that one of my favorite shows on TV is actually capable of being this bad. Now that is terrifying. If I had to name the best part about this episode, it would have to be the ending. You know, the part where the show ends? Yeah, that part. So you would think with an episode this bad, the writers would just chalk it up as a loss and just move on, right? Nope. Because the next episode on this list is a sequel to Girl Meets World of Terror. It's Girl Meets World of Terror Part 2. Because God knows the fans were begging for a sequel to this atrocity. And you know what's funny? The first Girl Meets World of Terror is actually decent when compared to this one. The problem with this episode, besides the fact that it sucks, is that the whole episode tries to get by on musicals and kids being adorable. Because how can you hate an episode with a bunch of cute kids in costumes and singing musicals? It's actually not that difficult at all. Sorry to break it to you, but the more kids and musicals you have on a TV show, the less chance that it actually has of being good. Kids and musicals in moderation, fine. But to make that the whole show? Yeah, I think I'll pass. Now, some try to argue that some of this episode was cute. You say cute, and I say cringeworthy. I enjoyed maybe 5% of this episode, and that's me being generous. This, in my opinion, is the worst Girl Meets World episode ever made up until this point by a decent margin. So thankfully, there isn't a part 3 to this episode. But the last episode on this list is arguably, in my opinion, the second worst episode of Girl Meets World ever made. If not the second, definitely the third. And I'm talking about Girl Meets Fish. You can just tell how awesome this episode is gonna be by the title alone. And notice how all of these episodes are filler episodes. Yeah, that's usually how it goes. Although it's very possible to make good filler episodes, this isn't one of them. So this whole episode is about Augie being a detective and trying to figure out what happened to the fish and who killed it. Okay, seriously? I want to know which writer is responsible for coming up with this storyline. And even more so, who lied to their face and said this was a good idea? You bastard. Okay, so let's talk about the biggest issue with this episode. It's centered around Augie. There's a reason that I liked Morgan on Boy Meets World, and it's because she was used in moderation and never overused. Had they made episodes that circled around her, it probably would have sucked just like Girl Meets Fish. And that's not their fault. It's the writer's fault for asking a 7-year-old to carry the show. It's not fair to them, and it's definitely not fair to the fans. Because nobody, I repeat, nobody wants to see episodes where Augie is the main character. As if you don't already have enough side storylines with Augie in it already. Now you're writing episodes with him as the lead role? Are you insane? As bad as Girl Meets World of Terror Part 1 and 2 were, I could at least find 1 or 2 nice things to say about it if I really wanted to. I have nothing good to say about this episode. Hands down deserves a spot as one of the worst Girl Meets World episodes ever made. But let me know what your top 3 worst Girl Meets World episodes are, and leave them in the comment section below. And if you have any suggestions for future top 3 videos, make sure to leave those in the comment section below too. But I'm done talking. Make sure to leave a like or dislike and share it with all of your lovely friends. But as always, until next time.